Well, there's a lot of snow and ice on the ground across the lower 48, and some people find themselves kind of like this.
Okay, we've got snow. I'm getting a little tired of it.
Well, if you find yourself that way, I completely understand. There is a warm-up on the way, and if you're a snow lover and maybe you want more, I think we will see snow, especially north of the Appalachians and across the west, even into the upper Midwest over the next couple of weeks. The south, still questionable, but I'll show you why March and late February may be on the table. So let's get into it. We've got a lot to talk about. We do have a warming trend, I think, on the way for a lot of the east. So if you're like me at the beginning of the video, maybe you're getting a little tired of the snow, I think we see a bit of a warm-up. Now our warm-up will start toward the beginning of the week, and it'll really kick into gear once we move to the middle and end of the week, mainly across the eastern United States. Temperatures will rise, we'll see rounds of rain, and I think while that will cause a bit of a January thaw, with all the snow on the ground and repeated rounds of rain, flooding may be something to keep an eye on as we head through this week, especially in the eastern United States. Now this is a look at the upper level chart. We're watching this upper low here spinning across the southwestern United States. That's actually going to bring some wintry weather and some precipitation to areas that don't really see a lot very often. So we're talking about the Four Corners states, even parts of Southern California, and then we'll have to watch next week how that interacts. But one thing's for sure, we are looking warm. Next week, some of the models trying to dig a trough into the eastern United States, specifically the Northeast, and this looks like a very cold pattern here for New England. Now let's start with the short term. As we move through the day Saturday, we will see snow showers off of the Great Lakes. Some of that will continue to add up, and the snow showers are going to continue to fly through the Appalachians into the Pennsylvania mountains and even into parts of New York State. As another reinforcing shot of cold air moves through, we'll kick off some more snow showers, and those will again be enhanced by the mostly unfrozen lakes here. Lake temperatures are certainly dropping. This is where we were mid to late December, and this is where we are today. So you can see we're getting very close to freezing in some areas. But here's the deal, with the warm-up heading our way next week, I don't know that we close the lakes off with ice. The freezing will actually come to a stop, and that will probably lengthen our lake effect snow season a little bit longer as we head into February and March, with cold outbreaks expected. Snowfall amounts, Sunday through 7 p.m. Here you go. The highest amounts will be into the Appalachians and then downwind of the lakes, Lake Erie and Ontario, and then some heavier snow possible downwind of Lake Michigan, also across the UP of Michigan as well through Sunday night. One thing to keep an eye on as we head into early next week, we're talking about Monday, is the potential for some freezing rain here in the center part of the country. This is the afternoon run of the European. It's a little bit warmer than the NAM model. I will tell you, the NAM model starts to hone in on some things that the global models like the European and the GFS kind of miss out on, especially once you get in that 40 to 50 to 60 hour time frame. The NAM model showing it a little bit colder here across North Texas. That could mean that we start off with a little bit of ice early in the morning Monday, so Dallas, maybe even as far south as Waco, but mostly across North Texas into Oklahoma, then expanding into Arkansas. I think that's where we see that threat early Monday morning, and then north of that into Missouri too. So with cold surfaces out there after a very cold outbreak that we've seen, you know, that's something to keep an eye on, especially early Monday morning for that morning commute. But things warm up pretty quickly though. You can see it with a strong southerly and southwesterly flow. We'll start to see temperatures rise above freezing. Looking further to the north and east, icing certainly possible early in the day on Tuesday for parts of Illinois, Indiana, even into Ohio. Over toward Detroit, we'll have to watch that as well, but that warm air surging north, so we'll see that mixing change over to mostly rain during the day Tuesday, and then snow on the north side of that. I think it's north of Chicago. You get up into Wisconsin, you get up into the UP of Michigan, maybe even the northern parts of the lower peninsula, we stay all snow, but rain here across the mid-south all the way into the southeast as temperatures continue to rise above normal. And then look at this, another round of rain moving into areas where there's quite a bit of snow on the ground, especially into the Appalachians. So with that snowpack and with rain moving in, keep an eye to the creeks and the rivers, because there could be the potential for flooding, especially into the northeast too, because we have had quite a bit of snow over the last couple of days and even weeks in some areas. Now snow totals with our Tuesday system looks to be in the order of 2 to 4, 5, maybe a few spots getting close to 6 inches. The lower amounts will likely be here on the southern side of it, and I think that's where the greatest uncertainty would be as far as where the snow rain line sets up. It's still way too early to determine that, but you can see something showing up here on the models, especially as we move toward Tuesday and Wednesday. Once this system moves to the east, it's going to bring some rain across the south and maybe even some snow across New England, but eventually warm air surges north and we see a transition over to rain in all areas except the farmost reaches of Maine. And then here comes another round of rain for the southeast as we move into Thursday and Friday. So a very active weather pattern. Across the west, we stay very busy. This is a map that I don't show very often. This is precipitable water. If you were to squeeze all the moisture out from the ground all the way to the top of the atmosphere, That's what precipitable water is. Now, this is the percent above normal. This is a good way to kind of visualize where the high moisture content is in the atmosphere. So we've got this one storm spinning off the coast. It's going to be a little warm here, relative, I guess, to the time of year. So snow levels will be pretty high, but we'll start to see those snow levels drop as we move into Monday and Tuesday. And look at the moisture really taking aim here into the southwest. Here's your date above. This is now we're into Tuesday. Now we're moving into Wednesday, even Thursday and Friday. So look at the moisture. It just continues to just pound the west with storm after storm. Here's our system moving into California for Saturday. Heavy snow into the Sierra. Rain could be heavy at times in some areas, and it could get really heavy as far as snow goes here into northern parts of California. And then that snow starts to push inland into the Intermountain West once we move into Sunday. Rain possible as far south as LA with this system too, and snow levels pretty high here, but once you get up into the mountains, some snow, and then that moves into the southwest. So over toward Phoenix, we could get a little bit of rain out of this, a little bit of snow up toward Flagstaff into the mountains of Arizona, even into parts of Utah, Colorado, and New Mexico, and then all that shifts to the east. And then here comes our next system, bringing more snow into the west. These snow levels look a little bit lower, more heavy snow from the Cascades all the way down to the Sierra, with this system bringing likely some heavier rain into parts of California. And I think this system also brings the potential for some heavier rain across the far southwest states. So we're talking about Southern California, parts of New Mexico and Arizona, another round of rain for Phoenix, it looks like, heading into Tuesday. And then wouldn't you know it, another system moving into the Pacific Northwest as we move toward the end of the week, bringing another round of rain and snow. One thing to keep in mind too, and I don't want to overlook this, as we head through the day on Saturday, even into Sunday, the Columbia River Gorge, that's a place where we've been seeing some freezing rain. I think another chance moving in here as we head into late Saturday night into early Sunday with that cold air trapped here in the gorge. And look at the precipitation across the west. This is through Friday at 4 p.m. Close to 6-7 inches in some areas, even more, especially with that onshore and upslope flow here. As far as snow goes, it's going to be clearly the heaviest in the mountains. And my goodness, we're talking about in some areas close to 4 feet all the way through the week. So very impressive snow totals. We're definitely building up that snowpack, no doubt about it. And we continue to build snow here across the far southwest too and into the Rockies. So skiing, absolutely phenomenal right now. We're building that base and it's looking pretty good for the next week or so here for the ski areas. A closer look at the rain across the far southwest, because we don't get rain that often in Phoenix. We're talking about close to an inch of rain here, up toward Flagstaff, lower totals, but I think the threat here would be snow. So once you get up into the mountains, maybe a foot of snow or more, and that extends over into parts of New Mexico. Maybe not as much, but of course the higher elevations will get more snow out of this system. Now, once that system moves out of the far southwest, it moves into Texas, it moves into the mid-south and deep south, bringing another round of rain. This is going to be a wet week across the East Coast, generally east of the Mississippi, and then maybe some more mixed precipitation up around the lakes, maybe into the northeast too, as we see a little bit of cold air holding on here. Temperatures this weekend across the east are very cold, above average actually across the west. That's one of the reasons snow levels are pretty high here. But look what happens as we head into next week. Temperatures soar above average, but I don't think it lasts. In fact, if you look at the long-term weeklies, once we move into February, into late February, into early March, if you get below normal here in the east, this could be interesting. Does this set us up for an East Coast snowstorm? Too early to tell, but this looks better for a snowstorm than this. So I think our pattern shifts back to a cold one as we head into February. May not be the first day of February, but into February and then into March. I think it turns much colder, and I think this warm spell will be short-lived. If I go down with the ship, I go down with the ship. That's what I'm sticking with for now. That's what things are telling me. If it changes, you'll be the first to know. All right, subscribe for more. I'll let you know. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a great weekend.